there's a lot of people on Pinterest who can't cook, downloading recipes all over the place. Maybe someday they can scramble an egg. I don't know.
So with popularity of wedding TV shows and sites like Pinterest, there's women out there planning their weddings long before they even have a groom. So my question is, what impact does this have on marriage? And are these women invested in the wedding or the marriage? Like, what's going on here?
I actually have a kind of a skewed perspective on this because I come from a world where you create your own reality. And so I like the idea of being ready for your wedding and then thereby creating the actual event itself. So you can do this in any area of your life, not just the weddings, but there's a lot of people on Pinterest who can't cook, downloading recipes all over the place. Maybe someday they can scramble an egg, I don't know. But I like the idea of preparing intentionally, using your intent in a conscious way to attract what it is that you want into your life. And certainly planning a wedding. Now, I'm not talking about delusional Debbie. It's like, going to sleep in the nightie every night and getting her wedding gown on it during the day. I'm talking about somebody who really, really, really wants to find a partner, find their mate, and get married and make a family. And so I think a great way to do that is to actually use your intention, empower yourself, and co-create it by creating the event itself.
But what about delusional Debbie?
Actually create.
Here's the thing, is I love the idea of co-creating, and I love the idea of becoming the best version of your authentic self to attract the right person. I mean, I'm also coming from a cultural backdrop where there's not like a wedding day, there's like wedding week, wedding days of wedding, and I do feel like, where your energy goes is where it flows,
right.
And along those lines, I would just so much rather see people's energy flowing into start with yourself, becoming that person that you want to be to attract the right person, but then really putting your energy towards not only being that person, but getting out there and meeting those right people for you. And just really putting the menus aside. Those tastings will be fun when the time comes. But for now, let's focus on, really spending time with guys, getting to know them, not interviewing them for this role as sperm donor or to fit into your, the set, your wedding set to fit into that, on the groom cake, but rather to really figure out if the two of you are right for each other and he's not just fulfilling a role. I mean, I feel sometimes guys come back to me and say, I felt like I was on an interview almost, like I was, being evaluated. And I think few women want to be evaluated as the wife, the husband, the sperm donor, the mother of my kids exclusively. They want to be accepted as the individual they are. So that, with that caveat.
I'm more talking about how people use vision boards and to create a future.
Oh, and I got that, and I believe in that.
So there's different steps to everything.
Absolutely.
So yes, of course, you've heard me say before that networking is key. Getting out and about in the real wide world is key.
And putting your energy, like you said, putting your energy where,
But I think there's a whole culture of wedding shows that set up a huge level of expectations.
Military.
We have a preponderance of wedding shows that glamorize the actual day, which is 8 hours of your life.
Instead of the quality of the man that you've chosen to spend it with.
And what the rest of your life is going to look like after that day, where you get to dress up like a princess and your bridegroom like a butler, and and people running around doing your bidding, and it's nothing like the rest of your life to follow. And
what?
You tell us now.
Too late.
Oh my God. So where are the reality TV shows about when you go home and start the grind?
They're on Bravo.
I don't watch those.
So I think that there's something, the glamorization of
But they also have Bridezilla, so it's not all glamorous.
I think that appeals to some people.
It does. Yeah, it does.
That whole thing of I'm going to be in charge of this event.
And that's not even what it's about.
Right.
The Bridezilla concept. It's awful.
And going back to the conversations we were all talking about before that you need to have, I'd rather see, the gazillion hours going into picking your dress, picking the menu. I'd like to see some of those hours going into getting to know, like you said, the roles you guys are going to mutually share, money, like all of these topics, family, all these topics we're talking about. Love to see energy go towards those. at that stage, more so than picking the dress for the guy you're ultimately, hopefully, possibly going to be with if you get yourself out there and meet him, so.
So weddings, they sound like they're a lovely thing. It's one day. Keep it
Or
real.
multiple days.
Or multiple days, right? Keep it realistic,
days. Yeah.
right? And keep your
realistic,
fantasies
right.
in check. And Pinterest is great for a vision board, but not a vision board on crack, right?